In this video, you're going to understand a truth that many people ignore. Earning little is not necessarily the biggest obstacle to building wealth. Many people believe they can only improve their lives when they have a high salary, when they get a big promotion, when they win the lottery, or when some perfect opportunity appears. But the reality is that there are people who earn a lot and live in debt, while others with a lower income manage to save, invest, and build a more stable financial life over time. The difference, many times, isn't just in the amount that comes into the account. It's in the way the person thinks, decides, and acts with money. Because the salary may be small, but if the mindset is organized, if the habits are strong, and if there is discipline, that salary can become a seed. A small seed, yes, but capable of growing when it's cared for the right way. But everything starts with the first strategy. The first strategy is to develop a rich mindset. Before becoming rich in the pocket, a person needs to start becoming rich in the mind. This may seem simple, but this is where many people get stuck. The person looks at their own salary and thinks, "With this, I'll never achieve anything." And when she believes this, she stops looking for solutions, stops studying, stops planning, stops trying, starts living only in survival mode, receives the salary, pays the bills, complains about earning little, waits for the next month, and repeats it all again. But a person with a rich mindset asks different questions. Instead of saying, "I earn little, so there's no way," she asks, "How can I make better use of what I earn?" Instead of saying nothing is left over, she asks, "Where is my money going?" Instead of saying the rich got lucky, she asks, "What do financially intelligent people know that I haven't learned yet?" Instead of saying, "I can't invest," she asks, "How can I start small?" Notice the difference. The poor mindset looks for excuses to stay in the same place. The rich mindset looks for ways to improve, even when the beginning is difficult. Imagine a person named Carlos. Carlos earns a modest salary. For years, he believed his income was the main problem. Whenever he got paid, he'd say, "This isn't enough for anything." And because he thought this way, he didn't plan, didn't track expenses, didn't study money, didn't think about extra income. He just accepted that his financial life would always be tight. But one day Carlos realized something. His salary was limited, but his habits were limiting his life even further. He began to observe small decisions, purchases made without thinking, money disappearing on things he couldn't even remember afterward. No reserve, no plan to increase income, no study of investments, no clear goal. Then he understood that before changing his salary, he needed to change his mind. He started small. He set aside a few minutes a day to learn about money. He started tracking his expenses better. He created a simple goal. He started saving a small part of his salary. It wasn't much, but it was the beginning of a new mindset. And this is the key. A rich mindset doesn't mean thinking money appears magically. It doesn't mean repeating nice phrases and waiting for life to change on its own. A rich mindset means taking responsibility, seeking knowledge, seeing opportunities, and acting with discipline even when resources are still small. Someone with a rich mindset understands that money is a tool. Money can buy time, it can bring security, it can open doors, it can allow you to help your family, it can give you more freedom to choose. But for this, it needs to be treated with respect and direction. If you see money only as something to spend, it will go away quickly. But if you start seeing money as a seed, you begin to think twice before wasting it. Every dollar, every real, every small amount can have a mission. One part can protect you against emergencies, another can buy knowledge, another can be invested, another can help build a new source of income. The rich mindset makes a person stop asking only, "What can I buy?" and start asking, "What can I build?" This question changes everything, because those who only think about buying live, looking at the present. Those who think about building start looking at the future. And even with a small salary, this change is powerful. Maybe you can't make big investments at the beginning. Maybe you can't save much. Maybe you'll need to adjust many things. But if you start thinking like someone who builds, your daily decisions begin to change. You start studying more, spending more consciously, avoiding unnecessary debts, seeking to improve your skills, watching for opportunities. You stop comparing yourself so much to others and start measuring your own progress. Wealth doesn't begin when everything becomes easy. It begins when you decide to think and act differently, even within a difficult reality. That's why the first strategy is this: develop a rich mindset. Stop repeating that your small salary prevents everything. It may make the path harder, but it doesn't have to define your destiny. What defines your trajectory is what you do month after month with the money, time, and opportunities you have in your hands. Starting today, begin feeding your mind with financial knowledge. Read, study, observe people who know how to manage money, learn about savings, investments, extra income, and planning. Don't accept living on autopilot, because a trained mind starts to see possibilities where before it only saw limits. And when your mindset changes, your choices change. When your choices change, your habits change. And when your habits change, your financial life starts to follow a new direction. The second strategy is to set aside a part of every salary first. After developing a rich mindset, the next step is to put that mindset into practice. And one of the simplest ways to do this is to set aside part of every salary as soon as it lands in your account. Not afterward, not at the end of the month, not only if there's something left over. First, this is a point that seems basic, but it completely changes a person's financial life. Because most people do the opposite. They receive the salary, pay bills, buy what they need, buy what they want, handle some emergencies, make small expenses during the month, and only then think about saving money. But when the end of the month arrives, there's almost never anything left. So the person says, "I even wanted to save, but I can't." The problem is that she's trying to save what's left after everyone else has already been paid first. The market got paid, the bank got paid, the store got paid, the bills got paid, the credit card got paid, but her future was left for last. Whoever wants to build wealth needs to reverse this order. As soon as the salary comes in, set aside a part for yourself. This money isn't for spending, it's not for impulse, it's not to look good in front of others. This money is to build security, freedom, and future. Think of it as a mandatory bill, the same way you pay for electricity, water, rent, or internet. You need to pay your own future. The difference is that when you pay a bill, the money goes away. When you pay yourself, the money starts working in favor of your life. And you don't need to start with a lot. If you can't set aside 20%, start with 10%. If 10% is still too heavy, start with 5%. If 5% seems difficult, start with a small amount, but start. The most important thing at the beginning isn't the size of the amount, it's creating the habit. Because the habit of saving teaches discipline. It shows your mind that your future is also a priority. It prevents money from completely disappearing into present-day spending. Imagine someone who earns a small salary but decides to set aside a little every month. In the first month, it seems small. In the second, it still seems small. But after 6 months, this person already has something they didn't have before, a foundation. After a year, they have more security. After a few years, they may have a reserve, capital to invest, or money to take advantage of an opportunity. Now, imagine another person who earns more but never saves anything. She may have a higher income, but always lives at the limit. If something unexpected happens, she needs to go into debt. If she misses an opportunity, she doesn't have money to act. If an emergency arises, she falls into despair. See, the problem isn't always the size of the salary. often it's the lack of priority. Setting aside money first is a way of saying, I will no longer leave my future at the back of the line. At the beginning, you may need to adjust some habits. You may need to cut impulse purchases, reduce unimportant expenses, or stop trying to keep up with other people's standard of living. But this adjustment is necessary because wealth is not born only from what you earn. It's also born from what you're able to keep and direct. Money without direction disappears. Money with a mission builds. That's why every time you get paid, give a mission to part of that salary. One part can go to your emergency reserve. Another, once you already have security, can go to investments. Another can go to knowledge, courses, books, or skills that increase your income. The important thing is not to leave everything in the hands of consumption, because if you wait for something to be left over to save, the world will always find a way to take your money first. But if you set it aside first, you force your financial life to organize itself around your future. This is a small decision, but a powerful one. The second strategy is this: treat saving as an obligation, not as leftovers. Pay yourself first. Protect a part of your salary. Start small, but start with consistency, because whoever saves only when there's something left over depends on luck. But whoever sets aside money first starts building wealth with discipline, even earning little. The third strategy is to avoid unnecessary debts and not increase your standard of living without control. After learning to set aside part of your salary first, you need to protect that money. And one of the most important ways to do this is by avoiding unnecessary debts and being careful about increasing your standard of living. Many people even manage to earn a little more, but still don't build wealth. Why? Because every time income increases, expenses increase along with it. The person gets a raise and soon changes phones, starts earning a little more, and already takes on a bigger installment. Extra income comes in, and she turns it into new expenses. In the end, even earning more, she stays in the same place. No reserve, no investments, and the salary always tight. This is called lifestyle inflation. It's when your life automatically becomes more expensive every time your income grows. And this is one of the biggest dangers for those who want to get rich on a small or medium salary. Because if every increase in income turns into an increase in spending, you'll never have room to build wealth. Imagine a person who earns $2,000 per month and spends practically everything. Then she starts earning $3,000. Instead of using that difference to save, pay off debts, or invest, she raises her standard of living. She buys more, takes on more installments, goes out more, takes on bigger commitments. So even earning $3,000, she still has nothing left over. Then she earns $4,000 and repeats the same mistake. The salary grows, but freedom doesn't grow. That's why the third strategy is to learn to live intelligently. It's not about living poorly. It's not about giving up enjoying life. It's just about understanding that extra money needs to have a mission before it turns into consumption. When your income increases, don't immediately rush to spend more. Set aside a part for your reserve, a part for investments, a part to pay off debts, and a part to develop skills that can further increase your income. Use the growth of your income as a bridge to freedom, not as an excuse to create more obligations. And also watch out for unnecessary debts. A bad debt may seem small at the beginning, but it traps your future. You buy today, but pay for months. And each installment is a part of your next salary that no longer belongs to you. Before taking on any debt, ask, will this help me build wealth, or will it just satisfy a momentary desire? Is this purchase really necessary, or am I trying to appear like I'm doing better financially? Does this installment fit my budget without harming my reserve and my plans? These simple questions can prevent a lot of regret. Because wealth isn't built only by earning more. Wealth is built by maintaining control when money comes in. The third strategy is this: Avoid debts that don't build anything and don't increase your standard of living every time your income grows. If you manage to keep modest expenses, even when you start earning a little more, you'll have a great advantage. The extra money can be used to build a reserve, buy assets, invest in knowledge, and create new sources of income. Whoever increases spending without thinking gets stuck, but whoever controls their lifestyle gains room to grow. The fourth strategy is to invest money instead of leaving it idle. After learning to control debts and prevent your standard of living from rising unnecessarily, you reach a very important point. You need to make money work for you. Saving is essential. Setting aside part of your salary creates security. But if you only save and never learn to invest, your money may stay idle without really growing. It's as if you had a seed in your hand, but never planted it in the ground. It still exists, but it doesn't multiply, it doesn't take root, it doesn't become a tree, it doesn't produce fruit. Something similar happens with money. When you set aside part of your salary, that money needs to have a mission. First, it can form a reserve for emergencies. Then, once you already have a more secure foundation, it can start being directed toward investments, businesses, or opportunities that generate income in the future. Investing doesn't mean chasing easy promises. It doesn't mean putting money into something you don't understand. It doesn't mean believing anyone who shows up saying they'll multiply your money quickly. Investing for real requires patience, study, and prudence. Even if you start with little, what matters is starting with awareness. Small amounts invested regularly can create a powerful habit. At first, the results may seem slow, but consistency makes a difference over time. Imagine a person who sets aside a small part of their salary every month and invests with discipline. Maybe in the first month it doesn't seem like much. Maybe in the second month it still seems small. But after many months and years, she will have built something that didn't exist before: wealth. Now imagine another person who never invests. She works, gets paid, spends, and starts from zero again every month. Money passes through her hands but doesn't stay to build a future. That's the difference. Whoever only spends lives stuck in the present. Whoever invests starts building tomorrow. You can invest in financial assets, in knowledge, in a small business, in tools that increase your income, or in anything that has real potential to generate value in the future. What matters is not letting all your money die in immediate consumption, because idle money without strategy loses strength. But well-directed money can transform into freedom. The fourth strategy is this. After saving and creating a foundation of security, start studying investments and put your money to work intelligently. Start small, but start right. Study before applying. Understand the risks. Diversify when possible. Avoid rushing. Run from miraculous promises. Wealth is not born from a desperate bet. It's born from intelligent decisions repeated over a long time. The fifth strategy is to keep learning and develop new skills. After learning to save, control debts, and invest, there's a strategy that can greatly increase your capacity to grow financially: continuing to learn. Many people want to earn more, but don't want to become more valuable in the market. They want a higher income, but keep the same skills from years ago. They want better opportunities, but don't study, don't practice, and don't prepare. And here's a simple truth. The more value you're able to deliver, the greater your opportunities can be. If you earn little today, maybe one of the best ways to change that is to develop skills that other people or companies value. It could be learning sales, communication, marketing, technology, video editing, design, writing, languages, management, customer service, finance, or any skill that helps you solve problems. Because money tends to follow the ability to solve problems. Imagine a person who works every day but never learns anything new. She even makes an effort, but stays stuck in the same functions and the same limits. Now imagine another person who sets aside time each day to study. She learns a new skill, practices, improves, offers services, seeks opportunities, and starts opening doors that didn't exist before. The difference doesn't show up in a week, but after months, these two people may be on completely different paths. Learning continuously is like sharpening a tool. If the tool is dull, you make more effort and produce less result. But when the tool is sharp, the work becomes more efficient. The same happens with your mind. When you learn more, you see better opportunities. When you improve your skills, you can negotiate better. When you understand money, you avoid costly mistakes. When you learn to sell, communicate, or create something useful, you start having more income possibilities. And you don't need to start with expensive courses or complicated things. You can start by reading books, watching free classes, following serious content, practicing a skill every day, and applying what you learn in real life. What matters is not standing still, because whoever stops learning stays limited to what they already know, and whoever only knows what everyone knows usually earns what the average earns. The fifth strategy is this: invest in knowledge and develop skills that can increase your income. Even if you earn little today, use part of your time to become better. Learn something that can open doors, generate extra income, or improve your professional position. Because a small salary can be the starting point, but your skills can be the path to grow. The sixth strategy is to create multiple sources of income. After developing new skills, the next step is to use those skills to create other sources of income. Depending only on a salary may seem safe, but it's actually a fragile position. While the job is stable, everything seems under control. But if a layoff happens, a crisis, a salary reduction, an illness, or any unforeseen event, your entire financial life is threatened. It's like a table with a single leg. As long as that leg is standing, the table seems to work. But if it breaks, everything falls. That's why whoever wants to build wealth, even earning little, needs to start thinking about new sources of money coming in. It doesn't mean abandoning your job all at once. It doesn't mean acting out of desperation. It means using the salary as a foundation and little by little, building other paths. You can start with something simple: an extra service on weekends, freelance work, consulting in something you're skilled at, a small online business, selling a digital product, creating content, private lessons, commissions, investments, royalties, or any activity that uses your knowledge to generate income beyond your main job. At first, maybe this extra income will be small, but don't underestimate the small beginning. Many sources of income start as a seed. First, they generate little. Then, with practice, improvement, and consistency, they can grow. Imagine a person who earns a modest salary and decides to use 2 hours a day to build a second source of income. In the first month, she only learns. In the second, she starts testing. In the third, she gets her first clients or first results. At first, maybe it's not much money, but something important happened. She stopped depending on just one source of income. This change brings more security and also more confidence. Because when you have only one source of income, any problem becomes a threat. But when you start creating other sources, even small ones, your financial life gains more balance. The sixth strategy is this: don't put your entire financial future into a single income source. Use your skills, your free time, and your knowledge to build new sources of money. Start small, but start seriously, because whoever depends only on a salary lives limited by a single door. But whoever builds multiple sources of income starts opening new possibilities to reach more stability, freedom, and financial growth. The seventh strategy is to have patience and consistency. The last strategy to build wealth even while earning little is to understand that money grows with time, not with desperation. Many people want quick results. They want to invest today and be rich tomorrow. They want to create extra income and earn a lot in the first month. They want to save money for a few weeks and already feel a big change. But financial building doesn't work that way. True wealth is built with small decisions repeated over a long time. It's like planting a tree. You put the seed in the ground, water it every day, protect it, wait, take care of it, and keep going. At first, it seems like nothing is happening, but beneath the ground, the root is growing. Then a small sprout appears. Then the trunk gets stronger. Then the branches come. And at the right time, the fruits arrive. The same happens with money. At first, setting aside a small part of your salary may seem like little. Investing small amounts may seem slow. Learning a new skill may seem tiring. Creating extra income may seem difficult. But if you keep going, these small actions start to add up. 1 month of discipline may not change everything, but 6 months can already create a foundation. A year can transform habits. 5 years can completely change the direction of your financial life. The problem is that many people give up before the seed grows. They start motivated, save money for a while, study a little, try to invest, think about extra income, but when results are slow to come, they stop. They say it didn't work. They say it's too difficult. They say earning little prevents everything. But many times, what was missing wasn't opportunity. It was consistency. Consistency is continuing to do what's right, even when no one is watching. It's setting money aside, even when the amount is small. It's avoiding debt, even when you feel like buying something. It's studying, even when tired. It's investing with patience. It's building a second source of income, even when the first results are still low. Whoever wants wealth needs to stop looking for shortcuts and start respecting the process. Because money likes direction, discipline, and time. During this video, you learned 7 strategies to build wealth even with a small salary. The first strategy is to develop a rich mindset, because before changing your bank account, you need to change the way you think about money. The second is to set aside part of every salary first, treating your savings as a priority, not as leftovers. The third is to avoid unnecessary debts and not increase your standard of living every time your income grows. The fourth is to invest money instead of leaving it idle, so it starts working in favor of your future. The fifth is to keep learning and develop new skills, because the more value you deliver, the more opportunities you can create. The sixth is to build multiple sources of income so you don't depend on just one salary. And the seventh is to have patience and consistency, because wealth is not born from an isolated decision, but from habits repeated every month. The big message is simple. A small salary can make the beginning harder, but it doesn't have to define your destiny. If you change your mindset, save with discipline, control your impulses, avoid bad debts, invest intelligently, keep learning, and create new sources of income, your financial life starts to follow a new direction. Maybe you won't get rich overnight, but you can become stronger, more prepared, more aware, and closer to financial freedom every month. So don't wait for the perfect salary to start. Start with what you have. Start small. Start today. Save a little. Study a little. Invest a little. Learn a skill. Create a new possibility. Repeat. Because whoever starts small but continues with discipline can go much further than whoever just waits for a big opportunity. If this video made sense to you, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who also needs to understand that it's possible to build wealth even earning little. And write in the comments, "I will build my wealth with discipline." Write that phrase as a commitment to yourself, because wealth doesn't belong only to those who earn a lot. It belongs to those who learn to take good care of what they earn, act intelligently, and keep moving forward, even when the beginning seems small.